Hey, welcome to the Minute of the Apes podcast, the podcast where we laugh maniacally at every damn dirty minute of the Planet of the Apes movies. I'm your host, Sean, and joining me as always is my co-host, Todd.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, before we start, we just want to go ahead and thank Pete and Alex again, the creators of the Star Wars Minute podcast. We totally love that, and we're happy to be part of the Minute family.
Yes, we stinking are.
Yes. All right, so we're going to start Minute 16 with Dodge asking Taylor if there was any particular reason he chose a direction to head out, and it ends with a view of a setting star on the horizon. And as of Minute 16, we've got 3 living humans, 1 dead, and still, we're 16 minutes in, no apes.
No apes, but I will say, what a stinking pretty star that is on the horizon at the end of the minute.
Yes, it is. Well, I gotta say, Taylor, I don't know if he's a confidence-inspiring leader that you want or not. I mean, when you ask him why he chose a direction, is there any rationale behind it? And he goes, not at all.
And, we've pretty much already gone in ad nauseum on how much of a jerk the guy can be, but I thought the same thing. I want a leader that inspires me to keep going. I'm in a desolate place. There's sand everywhere. There's no hope of anything. We're lost. You keep reminding me, Skipper, that I'm hundreds of years from home. What a jackass.
I know. I mean, I can pull guesses out of my ass, too, to decide where I want to go.
Well, apparently ANSA, when in all their budget talks, they go in and they only get assholes for skippers so that they kind of tell you it's my way or no way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, please.
And the fact that Taylor just starts laughing so maniacally whenever he sees the tiniest flag being staked with the tiniest pebbles being put at the base of it. I mean, I think he's starting to lose his mind.
I totally agree. I mean, also that laugh kind of kills me just a little bit because that was so added post fact. It was, not even in sync at all with it. If you're going to bellow like that, your mouth needs to be wide open, but instead we get a shot of his perfectly manufactured teeth as the camera it does the most dated of things in the whole world in both those instances where it zooms through the lens instead of pushes through an actual dolly.
Yeah.
So immediately to me that moment dates this film possibly as much as anything else up to this point when we actually see a zoom. You don't see zooms very often anymore.
No.
And so when we zoom to the stupid little flag, which why, when you're sent up there, do you only have room for 20 rounds of ammunition, 3 days worth of food, but they do stick in the crappiest flag that looks like you stopped at 7-Eleven to get it?
We're going to claim this planet for the United States of America. That's important. We'll be dead in 3 days, but this will be America's planet.
And we're also going to claim it with a teeny tiny flag so that perhaps if giants live on this planet, they just step on it and obliterate the crap out of it.
And again, if you go back and look, he's literally taking tiny rocks and putting them at the base of it. Not like something really destabilize it. Just little pebbles. I'm going to put this around the bottom of it.
And he could also move it over about 10 feet to the place where there is rockier soil where you can put it in the soil.
No. It's important that he does that right then.
But it's also
he's got
funny.
priorities.
And it's also funny that Skipper, he looks to Landon and goes, come on, almost like a misbehaving dog instead of a human.
And I like to imagine that in every shot that you see, they're just tiny on the horizon, he's still laughing to himself. And they're like, shut up, Taylor. You planted that flag. Remember that you did 5 minutes ago? Shut the hell up, Taylor.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm shocked that in pop culture we've never latched on to the Charlton Heston maniacal laugh.
Yeah, that's true.
It's such a classic that you have to think that somebody in the world's going to jump on that and run with it.
At some point, yeah.
They
sure are climbing high. I mean, there's a shot in this minute where you see them going up, and then there's a lake behind them. So I'm assuming, is that supposed to be the lake that they crashed into, or is this another one?
I don't know. And you know what just occurred to me? The first thing when I land, after going through the water that I had to swim through to get to my teeny tiny dinghy to go to shore, the first thing I do is not to test soil, is to go, why can't we stay near the water?
Yeah.
Was I able to stay in it? Can I drink this water? Why aren't they testing water? Why isn't water the first thing they test?
ANSA has different priorities than NASA.
maybe. I never thought about it until that very moment that when you said, they're going up and up and up doing this. I know they want to be found, but remind me, humans need water to survive, correct?
True.
I don't think they need dirt.
I don't think they have to test the soil. Again, they're not going to be growing anything in 3 days.
No, they're not. So one thing that occurred to me when I'm watching this is we get another moment where we're seeing these wide vistas with almost no dialogue.
Yeah.
And allowing the camera to tell me its story. And I'm going to jump to that. I listened to a different podcast this week where it had Thelma Schoonmaker, who's Scorsese's longtime editor.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about how Martin Scorsese is just obsessed with the idea that the language of cinema has been distorted so heavily because in today's film language, we cut. This film does not adhere to that. And it's
it doesn't cut at all.
It lingers and lingers. But at the same time, you get whenever you tell me a shot in wide that you're telling me so much more about the terrain. You're telling me more about the setting instead of just cutting to an actor's face. I really like that.
Yeah, they do like to linger on shots of people just walking.
And, it goes back to, and I may have mentioned this in previous minutes, that I'm going to show the film geek in me, but David Lean, when asked about he had seen Psycho, and he said, "What did you think?" He said, "I thought that the 1 minute that bored me to death that led to the shower scene was the most brilliant minute of movie making I've seen in forever." So we get into this idea of minute to minute by movies. This stuff is setting up where we're going. It's completely taking its time. It's completely lulling you in. And I have to say, I'm a sucker for this.
Yeah.
I sat there and I watched that over and over, and I thought, God, I want more of this in movie making.
And you said something earlier that I had made a note of. It pretty much at this point, for the most part, is a dialogue-free movie. I mean, we had a little monologue at the beginning. We had them talking while they were escaping the supposedly sinking craft. And then a little chat when they got to shore. And so far, in 16 minutes, they haven't talked very much.
No, they haven't. And when they did, they don't like each other, obviously. But it's funny, and I don't know if it is watching something minute by minute, but it accentuates the fact how much they don't get along when they finally do speak to each other.
That's true.
So since we're going to talk about the way this is shot, I want to bring up that the cinematographer was Leon Shamroy. He is famous for Cleopatra in 1963, The King and I in 56, and South Pacific in 58. He died at the age of 72 in 1974, which, roughly 15 minutes in this movie, I'm beginning to notice that a lot of people that made this movie died soon after it.
You think it killed them?
I don't know.
It sapped their will to live?
What was it? There's... crap, it may have been... Now I'm mixing up my pop culture, but there are things where people have died. Maybe it's the JFK assassination where they knew something and they died years later, that kind of thing. Was Planet of the Apes too much of a rigorous experience that they just couldn't handle this and they had to die within a few years?
Well, I'm going with the Star Wars Episode 3, Padme Amidala. I just gave birth to my babies and I lost my will to live.
Maybe being in the desert with Charlton Heston acting like a bitch made them unwilling to live.
Yes, I think they made their baby, which is the movie, and then they said, "I'm done."
So he was noted at this time. Some of the reviews of the film were that he had used a handheld camera in this movie, which was not unheard of in the 60s, especially with the push of a lot of foreign filmmakers to come out with handheld cameras. But a studio production at that time, they weren't quite as willing to let you do that. But he made the argument, and you'll see it later in the film, that a handheld film gave the astronauts more of a point of view of chaos. So now you look at how many films out there from Blair Witch and on use that very technique. This guy may have been at the forefront of this kind of thinking. That is true.
That is true.
The next thing that I really noticed, and I hate to be beard obsessed, but I swear Landon comes up over one of the rocks, and either they put some Grecian formula on his beard, or it's his real beard, or they lost the beard and had to go with a darker, because I swear all of a sudden he comes over and he looks like a bushman.
Yeah, it does look a little more scraggly.
I started wondering, and I guess maybe for that era they wouldn't have done this, but if the guy couldn't grow a beard, could they not just Taylor's already been such a jerk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Could he not make fun of him for not having enough testosterone to grow a beard?
I do not know.
I wish they had done that. Anyway, what else have you got?
That's all I've got right now. How about you?
It's another kind of shortish minute.
Yeah, we're so far our minutes have been short because there's not been a lot except for spaceship crashing and sinking happening, believe it or not, in 15 minutes.
And it's definitely setting things up. It's doing a great job at it. I know we said it before, but you do get that feeling, what the hell can I talk about in this besides that? So I know that we're pushing towards something. I know it. I've been promised Apes at some point. Yes. All right.
Well, that about wraps it up for this 8 minute. We're going to go ahead and get our plugs in. We're going to say go to minuteapes.com to see our website. If you want to email us, hit us up at podcast@minuteapes.com. And on our website, you can find our social media stuff, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. So until next time, I'm Sean, and my co-host is Todd. Thank you.